Thank you very much. Bailey has a sweet voice. She's using it for the Lord. It's even better. Our official missionary, I guess she got the billing on the agenda for tonight. And before we go any farther, after the service tonight, everyone is invited over into the Activity Center for cupcakes. So that's waiting on you. But now we're going to have a young lady come forward from IUP. She's in missionary work. She's here to earn support, just like all our other missionaries. And she's going to tell us all about her duties in at IUP. And if you saw the paper the other day, IUP is a very much international community anyhow, but there was 100 people, naturalized citizens the other day, and I wondered how that happened, but that said it came from Pittsburgh. Immigration came up and did that. There are enough people in these communities, and mostly I would imagine a lot of them came from the IUP community, to be naturalized. So we have an opportunity for international missionaries just like 20 miles down the road. And so Amy's going to come and tell us how we could get involved in that a little bit. So we're real happy to have Amy Huggins here this afternoon, or I guess this evening. Time's marching on. Come on up, Amy. Take as much time as you need.
Hi, it's really great to be here. Let me make sure I'm on. Okay. My name is Amy Huggins, and just to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up on the mission field in Spain. My parents were missionaries, and my mom's here today with me, so you can talk to her, but I went to Spain when I was 2 months old, and just growing up on the mission field has really given me a heart for missions and for doing the Lord's work. And I always thought, you know, whether I have a job or not, I'm going to be a missionary. And when I came here to the U.S., I did my college years in my education here, and I studied at Philadelphia Biblical University for my first degree and got my second degree at IUP. And for a while I was a teacher, and I thought, this is great, this is going to be a mission field for me. And I thought, I'm certified in K through 12 Spanish education as well as English as a second language. So I was teaching foreigners, and I thought, wow, I can share Christ right here. But the thing about it was, like, in the public school you can't share Christ, and it's just very limited. It's even more limited here than in a lot of foreign countries. And, well, the Lord was just really calling me, I believed, into ministry and into missions work, and I just thought, God, I want to give you the best years of my life. I want to serve you. And my parents were living right here in Indiana at the time, and they were ministering to internationals. And it just really opened my eyes to all the nations that are right here represented at IUP. So that's a little bit of background. And right now I am serving with an organization as an ethnic missionary. And the name of my organization is In Faith. And I'm living right here in Indiana County. So you might think, okay, America, a mission field, and like America has changed a lot. It used to be like 50 years ago, not that I'm that old or anything, but you know, we didn't really think America needed missionaries. But even in the last 10 years, America is so different, you know. And so I just want to share that with you. And the fact that we have atheists, animists, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists and Jews gathered here in the millions means that America really is a mission field. And so here's some amazing facts I just wanted to share with you. There's nearly as many Jews in the U.S. as there are in Israel. And there's over 1 million more Muslims in the U.S. than in the 100% Muslim country of Oman. It's on the Arabian Peninsula. And there's nearly half as many Buddhists in the U.S. as there is in Taiwan. And then this was really astonishing to me, that the U.S. is actually considered one of the top 10 Hindu nations in the world, and it comes in eighth place for the number of Hindus out of those 10. And then finally, there's more Christians in China than the U.S. Actually, Christianity is just growing by leaps and bounds over there. And so I think this is a really important ministry, and it's one you can be involved in right here, because IUP isn't really that far from you. So, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about internationals and who they are. And I don't know if I didn't skip a slide. Okay. Well, for one thing, the population is really concentrated. It's hard to believe that there are over 700 internationals right here at IUP. And they come from 77 different countries. Most of those countries are in the 1040 window. So this is a really pivotal ministry. And then another thing about them, sometimes we think of immigrants that come here that are really, really living in poverty and so forth. But a lot of these internationals come from well-to-do families. They're very, very brilliant. They're attracted to IUP because IUP has one of the top English programs in our nation. And it's considered very prestigious to come here. So we're bringing in the nation's most outstanding scholars. A lot of them will go into careers in business and education, government, military. And it's kind of neat. Like, my parents have met Yasser Arafat's bodyguard. We've also met a UN interpreter that was Arabic, a Muslim. And we've met a lot of high-profile people. So it's kind of neat. What would happen if they got saved, you know? Well, international students are very motivated. And one thing that they really are about is just there's a really high pressure for them to succeed because they're going back to be in government or and so they really don't want to dishonor their families. So there is a lot of pressure when they come here. A lot of times it's like missions overseas, like we kind of have to break through a lot of their culture. You know, they already have these frameworks of what Americans are like. They think America, this is a Christian nation. But like when their roommate gets drunk, they think my roommate's a Christian and he's getting drunk. You know, so they really don't understand what we're about. And so we're thinking of Buddhists, Muslims. They have a lot of different ideas that are contrary to Christianity. But this is a great opportunity because, in a sense, many of them are away from their families, they're away from their cultures, and sometimes they're the only international student from their country at IUP, although sometimes that's not the case. But it's kind of neat. The fact that they need friends really draws them to want to get to know Americans, and it's a huge opportunity just to share Christ's love with them. And the church can really get into that, I think. And then I think they're more open to spiritual things. A lot of times they're just isolated from that in their countries. So while they're here, they really want to learn about American culture, but they're just stuck. They're like in this college bubble, and they don't have a car, and they can't get anywhere. And it's kind of hard. So it's hard to meet Americans. And this is why my mission board considers them an unreached group, is because they're just interacting with one another. Sometimes they can even get along in their own language most of the time, except for an English class. Because a lot of times the Chinese are the largest group, and there's so many Chinese people around them, they could just stay in that, you know, and they wouldn't even have to relate to us or find out about our culture. But they are really, really curious, and they really want to form friendships and get into people's homes and just feel like they're at home. So, there we go. So how are we reaching them? Well, since I came into this, we started an organization at IUP. It's called International Student Fellowship, and we want to share the gospel with international students through our organization. And we have Hispanics, Hindus, Asians, Buddhists, Muslims, and people from many, many other religions that come. So that's the new campus group. And one opener to reach internationals is culture. Since they're stuck at IUP, they can't really become a part of us very well. And so we do things that attract them. But what's great about it is we get these massive groups of people, and we get to share the gospel with them through these activities. And I'm not a Halloween person, but just last week I shared my testimony with international students and just about use this object lesson on pumpkins. And I had this pumpkin that was like, had a Band-Aid on it, and the poor thing was very, very ill and like really ugly, you know, because I totally messed it up. And this other pumpkin, this perfect pumpkin, had an awesome design, you know. And then I just shared through that how God has a purpose for your life. And so that was really neat. But also, we do hay rides, campfires, and Easter we share the resurrection with them around egg coloring, because egg coloring is something they'll be attracted to. And then we always have a Christmas party, and we usually get mass numbers of people for that. So other ways to reach them that we've used is we had a pretend wedding. And what this was a couple from my church I go to Calvary Evangelical Free Church in Indiana, and there was a couple that my pastor had married a couple months back, and they could still fit into their bride and groom outfits. So we acted out a wedding in front of internationals. So that dad in the picture is not the bride's real dad, and the bridesmaids didn't even know the bride. But it was really cool because we got to share about marriage and Christ through the wedding. And there were over 100 in attendance at the wedding. We did it near campus so the students could walk to it. And that's just a really neat thing, and it's an opportunity to share culture. Because a lot of times internationals would never be invited to your wedding, you know, they're not close enough. And so they just all came out. And then we just like barbecues. Friendships is the key to sharing the gospel. And so a lot of my ministry involves just getting together with them, having them over to my house. And they come over and raid my fridge and all kinds of stuff. But it's really great. And then, so there's a lot of up close and personal, but there's also like any opportunity we have to share Christ, love, is an opportunity. And this is Stephen and Ying, and you see they had a baby, but Ying didn't really find out that she was pregnant until she was in the U.S. a couple months, and then she really freaked out. She didn't have health insurance, she didn't know what doctor to go to, and they didn't know where to buy baby clothes. It was just, they were really stressed out. So we had this surprise baby shower for her, and so that's at the surprise baby shower, and we got her mountain loads of things that she needed for the baby, and now she has a healthy baby. So they've been really interested in our things, in our activities, and through that we've gotten other contacts that come to our weekly Bible study, which is what I'm talking about now. We do a campus Bible study. It varies from semester to semester, and we just had a bunch of students graduate, and go back to their countries, most of them. But we're generally getting 8 to 28 at our campus meetings, although it's been more like 18 or 20 this year. And this is a spiritual time where we really dig into God's Word with them. And 98% of the students that come out to this are non-believers. They've never heard the gospel, most of them. So it's really a great opportunity. And we talk about topics that relate to their lives. And a lot of the topics that they're interested are topics any college student would be interested in, just like relationships and marriage and dating. And so we bring all these topics to them from a biblical perspective. And we always share the gospel with them as well. And we have to make it fun so they'll come. But here's how you can get involved. My church is involved in this, and it's a secular program that IUP has. They don't really know I'm a missionary, but I just go there and win people to the Lord. So, but this is one thing you can do, is be a friendship family. And this just involves, it doesn't involve a lot of time. You could have the student over to your house every 2 weeks or every month maybe, or just have a cup of coffee with them, and but it's a really great program because it's a way for them to meet Christians and to experience Christ's love. And a lot of the internationals that my church has been involved with have come away just realizing how much different Christians are from everybody else. And so it's a great opportunity. You can bring them to church. They'll just think this is a new cultural experience, And our church does an international potluck, but lots of churches do potlucks, and I'm sure you probably do them here. And so that was our international potluck. And we just decorated the church with a bunch of international stuff. They always bring me things from their country, so my house is like full of it. But, yeah, that's something you could do, is just invite them to your potlucks and just care about them. And so, here's some prayer requests I want to put before you, and one of them is a praise. The first one is workers for the harvest. And we do need workers, but, excuse me, I've had a cold lately. But I'm really grateful for Carl and Angela. Carl and Angela Pollock are Pat Leidick's, or Carl is Pat Leidick's nephew. And they've been really great, and I just couldn't do this ministry without them. So they're helping me out, and we're hoping to get a Muslim ministry on its feet, because Carl and Angela spent some time in Northern Africa, so it's exciting to have somebody that knows about Muslims and can speak Arabic. So, but we also, I need you to pray for Pejun. Pejun has been coming to our Bible study every week faithfully, and some people just come to our Bible study because they want friends, but you can really tell that she's hanging on every word we say, and she's really excited about it. And this girl is a PhD student. She doesn't have a lot of time, but she's making the time for us. So please pray for her to get saved. And then, as you know, we do have students leaving to go back to their countries, and we have a lot of cultures still here, though, and we are getting more and more international students all the time. We actually had 300 new ones that just came here to the U.S. this semester, to IUP. And so we want to just pray for that, for openings to get into their cultures and to share Christ with them. So keep that in your prayers. And then, yeah, that's me. You can pray for me, pray for my support to come in. I really want to stay in this ministry. But for me, the support raising has been a challenge. And in a sense, I've kind of been in winter with my support, and I'm really grateful to the Lord because He's given me about 30 to 40% of what I need, but I'm still going to need probably at least 200 more prayer partners, support partners, and so I have a lot of work cut out for me. It's hard being in ministry and at the same time needing to raise support. Most people do it separately. But since I'm really needed in the ministry, I have to do both. And so if you can pray for me, and if you feel called to support me, then I encourage you to do that. And I'm sure the sun is going to come out soon. So, that's about it. I think it's a great opportunity to be able to reach the nations of the world right here, about 10 miles or 15 miles away from here. So I'm excited about it, and I look forward to talking to you guys later while we eat cupcakes. Thanks a lot.
How many of you realized IUP was so international? You didn't know that? Well, we need to open our eyes a little bit more, don't we? 20 miles away, 50? One thing I wanted to mention that the Scarings did not mention here one iota about last night. They mentioned boarding school, they mentioned homeschool, but do you know that they live in the Purchase Line School District? Did you know that, everybody? And now we have Amy in Indiana. Now, Laura and Jorge Vaca are pretty much tied into a schedule with WGM, but they're not here, and we can't do much for them except tell others about them and support them. But we have a lot of connections. You have people that you know. You have people you go to church with. You have people, or I'm sorry, you're already here, but people you know who go to other churches in the community. So if there's somebody you have a contact with, tell them about the Scarings. Tell them about Amy. Tell them, hey, when your preacher is on vacation, you need someone in the pulpit. You know people that can do that. So, and I'm sure you'd be willing to go, right? Yeah, they're in the same business. They're looking for support. So we've got two close missionaries here that we can be helping to get into other churches, to get the word out, to get their support, to get prayer out for them. All right. On that note, as I said, we're going to have cupcakes over in the Activity Center. For lack of any singing on our part tonight, we're going to close with a song if Cindy wants to come.